So a few days ago, we redrafted the 2017 NHL Draft. You guys showed a ton of support on that video. It was a lot of fun to make, so I figured today, let's go ahead and redraft the 2018 NHL Draft. Now this is an extremely recent draft, and a lot of the prospects we're going to talk about haven't even became full-time NHLers just yet, so this is going to be heavily based off of how good I think they're going to become and just my predictions for these players in the future. A lot of people are going to have different opinions on this, so make sure to keep that in mind and make sure to let me know what your top 15 would look like down in the comment section below. With all that said, let's get right into it and redraft the 2018 NHL Draft. But before we begin, let's take a look at the original top 15 from the 2018 NHL Draft. First overall, we had Rasmus, then it was Svechnikov, Kotkaniemi, Brady, Tkachuk, Barrett, Hayton, Filip, Zadina, Quinn, Hughes, Boqvist, Vitali, Kravtsov, Bouchard, Oliver Wahlstrom, Noah Dobson, Ty Dellandrea, Joel Farabee, and Grigori Denisenko. Beginning the redraft with the 15th pick, I have the Panthers taking defenseman Bouchard, who was originally taken 10th overall by the Edmonton Oilers. So I do have him sliding down a couple of spots, but I still think he's going to be a very good offensive defenseman in the NHL one day. Bouchard had 87 points in his draft year with the London Knights, and this past season in the American Hockey League with Bakersfield, he had 36 points in 54 games. Bouchard is still a pretty raw prospect. I'm not sure if he's going to be a mainstay in the NHL next season or not, but whenever he does come to the league, hopefully he can play great for the Oilers. Next up, with the 14th overall pick, I have the Philadelphia Flyers selecting Vitali Kravtsov, who was originally taken with the 9th overall pick by the New York Rangers. And heading into the season, everybody was extremely excited about Kravtsov. People thought he was going to be in Calder Trophy conversation, but it was kind of a disappointing year, and I will admit I'm not 100% sold on Kravtsov just yet. That's why I have him at 14th overall. Kravtsov played some games in the AHL and the KHL this past season, and his numbers were okay, but not anything too special. But of course, this is extremely early. He still has a ridiculous amount of upside, and with him, we're kind of just going to have to wait and see what happens. Moving on now, with the 13th pick, I have the Dallas Stars selecting Barrett Hayton, who was originally taken 5th overall by the Coyotes. Now, yeah, this is a pretty big drop from 5th overall, but I'm still extremely high on Barrett Hayton. I think he's going to be a great player, and it definitely isn't Barrett Hayton's play that made him drop for me this season, because he did play very well. It's just I feel like a lot of other prospects passed him in my opinion. Again, this is pretty difficult because it is super early and a lot of this is projection based, but I still think he is going to be a very good player. Next up, with the 12th overall pick, I have the New York Islanders selecting Joel Farabee, who was originally taken 14th overall by the Flyers, so he moves up a couple of spots here. Farabee didn't have an unreal rookie season, but he was just very solid for the Flyers. 21 points, a +6 rating in 52 games. He also played 5 AHL games this season and had 4 points. It was pretty difficult to put him ahead of Barrett Hayton, especially since Barrett Hayton is a center, but I think Farabee is going to be that good. And the Flyers have a really good young core with guys like Farabee, Morgan Frost, to go along with players like Travis Konecny and Oscar Lindblom. Next up, 11th overall, the Islanders once again selecting. I have them taking Noah Dobson, who they originally took 1 pick later in the 2018 draft. And Noah Dobson didn't come in and light it up his rookie season like Quinn Hughes did, but I think the Islanders are definitely happy with the pick. He did play pretty solid, and it was in sheltered minutes. I definitely think next season he is going to take on a much bigger role with the New York Islanders, and in my opinion, he will be a very solid top 4 defenseman in the NHL for them for years to come. So yeah, instead of the Islanders taking Wahlstrom and Dobson, I have them taking Farabee and Dobson here. With pick number 10, I have the Edmonton Oilers selecting Grigori Denisenko, who was originally taken 15th overall by the Panthers. And I think Edmonton is happy with their pick of Bouchard, but could you imagine future lines centered by McDavid and Draisaitl and having guys on the wing like Yamamoto and Denisenko? I think that would be insane. I think Denisenko is going to be a beast. He played this past season in the KHL where he had 12 points in 38 games. Not unreal numbers, but he's 19 years old, and that is a very good league. He also played very well at this past World Juniors with 9 points in 7 games for the Russians en route to the silver medal. He definitely plays with his heart on his sleeve, plays a bit of a chippy game. I think he's going to have a great NHL career. Moving along, with pick number 9, I have the Rangers taking defensive prospect Alexander Romanov, who is definitely the biggest riser in this mock draft. Romanov was originally taken with the 38th overall pick in the 2nd round by the Montreal Canadiens and could definitely turn out to be the steal of this draft. He played 43 games in the KHL this past season and had 7 assists and a plus 21 rating. He is a defensive beast already, and I think is going to be on the Montreal Canadiens sooner rather than later. He was also fantastic for the Russians in the World Junior Tournament with 6 points in 7 games. Montreal fans should be really excited about this guy. Next up, pick number 8, I have the Chicago Blackhawks taking defenseman Rasmus Sandin, who is another one of the biggest risers in this redraft. Sandin, originally a late first round pick by the Maple Leafs, and that organization has to be super pumped the way he's developed so far. Sandin played 28 games in the NHL this season and had 8 points, also had 15 points in 21 American Hockey League games. If Sandin continues to develop this way, I think he's going to be a great two-way defender, which really is exactly what the Toronto Maple Leafs need. Next up, 7th overall, I have the Vancouver Canucks selecting defenseman Adam Boqvist. Not quite Quinn Hughes, who they originally got with this draft pick, but I still think he's going to be a great defender in the league. Boqvist was originally taken 8th overall by the Blackhawks, so he moves up 1 spot here, and this season with the Hawks he had 13 points in 41 games and also had 6 points in 15 AHL games. In terms of his offensive upside from the blue line, I don't think he has a ceiling. He can definitely become elite in that aspect of the game. In some of the Hawks games I've watched this season, he really had me saying, wow, some of the moves he pulls off for a 19-year-old defenseman are pretty insane. I think next season Boqvist is going to be in for a big year now that he knows what to expect at the NHL level. Moving on now, 6th overall, I have the Detroit Red Wings selecting Filip Zadina in the exact same spot they selected him in the actual 2018 draft. And I'll admit, after last season, I was a little bit worried. He didn't have an exceptional rookie year in the American Hockey League, but it's an example of why you can't be worried about young players too soon, because Zadina played very well this season in the NHL with 15 points, 8 goals, 7 assists in 28 games. That's about a 20 goal, 40 point pace over an 82 game season, which I would say is pretty good for a 20-year-old on a really bad team. Yeah, of course, it does sting a little bit that Quinn Hughes was taken 1 pick after Detroit selected, but I'm still pretty happy with Zadina. With pick number 5, I have the Arizona Coyotes taking centerman Jesperi Kotkaniemi, who was originally taken 3rd overall by the Montreal Canadiens. And I've seen some redrafts that had Jesperi Kotkaniemi not even in the top 15. In my opinion, that is a tad bit disrespectful. I know he didn't play well in the NHL this season at all, but we've seen this happen a ton. It's called the sophomore slump. There are numerous examples of this, but I mean, he's only 19 years old, and it's almost as if people forget the solid rookie year that he had last season with 34 points in 79 games. And after he was sent down to the American Hockey League this year, he put up some good numbers down there. He was point per game in 13 games. Personally, I think he's going to be just fine. I think a lot of people are overreacting, and hopefully next year he can bounce back and prove a lot of people wrong. With pick number 4, I have the Ottawa Senators drafting Brady Tkachuk, which is the same spot they took him in the actual 2018 draft. And Tkachuk has turned out to be a really good pick for Ottawa. Already back-to-back 20-goal seasons, and he's only 20 years old. 45 points last season, 44 points this season, obviously brings a really big physical presence to the game as well. I'm not quite sure what his ceiling is. I don't really ever see him as like an elite first line winger, but like a very good power forward in the top 6 that can give you like 45 to 60 points, definitely. Moving into the top 3 now, I have the Habs selecting winger Andrei Svechnikov, who was originally taken 2nd overall by the Carolina Hurricanes. And I have him dropping 1 spot here, but I definitely think Carolina is still extremely happy with that pick. Svechnikov already has back-to-back 20-goal seasons. This year he had 61 points in 68 games, which is a really good pace for a sophomore. Svechnikov has an extremely high ceiling. I think he can be like a 35 to 40 goal scorer and a point per game player, and he does play with some pretty talented guys like Teravainen and Aho. He has an extremely bright future and has got off to a great start to his career. With the 2nd pick in the draft, I have the Canes selecting defenseman Quinn Hughes. Could you imagine if this really happened and you added Quinn Hughes to that blue line in Carolina? That would be insane. You could definitely make a strong argument that Quinn Hughes could go number 1, and if you think that he should, I'm honestly not disagreeing. This is just my opinion. Hughes had an amazing rookie season with 53 points in 68 games and was obviously a vital part of the Vancouver Canucks blue line in just his rookie season. He's fantastic, and like I said, you could definitely make a case for him to be the 1st overall pick. And finally, 1st overall, I have the Buffalo Sabres selecting Rasmus Dahlin in the same spot they selected him in the actual draft. Heading into the 2018 draft, he was the consensus number 1 overall pick, and he was for a reason. Obviously has a ridiculous amount of potential and upside. I think offensively, Quinn Hughes will probably have the better career, but as an overall defender, I think I'm going to take Dahlin. And Dahlin is definitely no slouch offensively either. 44 points last year in his rookie season and 40 points this season in just 59 games. He's going to have an amazing career, and in a redraft, I think he's still the number 1 guy. So that is going to do it for today's video. I really hope you guys did enjoy. Again, it was probably too soon to do a mock draft on the 2018 draft, but I wanted to do it anyway. Again, it's not like there's any current events in the NHL to talk about since the season is currently paused, but make sure to let me know down in the comment section below what your thoughts and opinions are on this draft and what your top 15 redraft would look like. And with that said, if you guys did enjoy the video, please make sure to go down there and drop a like on it. Let's try to hit 700 likes on this video. We hit the mark of 1,000 on last video. Thank you guys so much for all the support. And if you guys are new and you want to see more NHL content like this, make sure to click that subscribe button, and I will see you guys all in the next video.